Summer transfer windows always see people stay and people go, and of course, promotion and relegation can be colossal factors in deciding whether or not these moves happen. But there are always likely to be some players set to leave no matter what, and that is seemingly the case at Leeds United this summer. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about who's set to leave, why they might be about to leave, what their history is at Leeds United, and there is one player that I believe is going to go. There isn't like a set in stone, definitely leaving one, but is a theory that I'm thinking doesn't matter what league we're in, we're not going to have him next season. So stick around for that. But first, I would hugely appreciate if you could subscribe. It's a single click, real easy, and it really helps the channel along. Thank you. So let's dive into it very quickly. These are players that I think are set to leave either way. They are, for the most part, some free, some will have transfer fees, mostly set in stone, but one of them is a theory that I think no matter what will be leaving the club. And there are a few very, very big names for the side in here. So to start, I'm going to begin with a generalization: the Lone Rats. A good few of these will go. That's not even in question because, in part, they're not welcome back. They are players that left because they didn't want to be here, and if we're back in the Premier League and they suddenly are interested in football again, fans will not want them back in the slightest. And they will feel that, and they will push for moves elsewhere. I'm 100% certain on that. There are so many of these that I can't go person by person. It will likely need its own video. The likes of Diego Llorente, Rasmus Christensen aren't necessarily going to find moves to the club that they're on loan at the moment. The same is likely to apply to Max Wuber, but they're reasonable enough quality players that if we shop around, we'll be able to find a buyer. It'll be completely fine. Someone who is more positively seen by the fan base and still going to be leaving in the summer is Lewis Bate. He signed with a hell of a lot of promise from Chelsea. He was a young midfielder that was up and coming, and you could see that he had some zest in him, some playmaking ability, and was reasonably good. But since that, he's had several loan spells, and he's never really kicked on for Leeds United. And whilst we are a team that likes to wait for youth, I feel like it's going to be tough to wait any longer for him to properly break through into the first team. And if we're a side that looks to get into the Premier League and keep on pushing, he's not there yet. He's only got a year left on his contract, and it feels like it's inevitable for him to move on at the end of this season. There's definitely a player in there, without a doubt. But at the end of the day, this feels very Leif Davis to me. It feels like he's going to get a move away to a top-end League One, lower-end Championship club, absolutely set the world on fire because he will have had time and first-team football to develop. But I don't think he will have the opportunity to do so at Leeds. It's best for him right now. It's best for us right now. Although in a few years down the line, if he's ripping up the Premier League, maybe we'll look at it with a sort of, that's a bit of a shame point of view. But it sort of needs to happen. A player where I think we'll have less of that is Sonny Perkins. He came in with the same sort of vibe as Lewis Bate, bought from, I think, West Ham. And he came with a hell of a lot of promise, with him making their European squad once or twice. And he was thinking he might get into the Leeds United squad several times. And the issue with that is he hasn't, because he's not really been good enough. And in addition to that, he's apparently had some attitude concerns. Failed to get in at Oxford United as well, which sort of adds up to me to him moving away in the summer. If he was out on loan at Oxford and we recalled him because he wasn't getting enough game time for Oxford problems, then sure, we would have loaned him out again. But the fact is, we recalled him, didn't send him out again. It screams to me that there's an issue with him rather than the club we loaned him out to. And I feel a summer move coming, so he doesn't cause any long-term issues with the club. Someone else that I thought would kick on really well at Leeds United is Jan Poveda. He got a hell of a lot of appearances for the club, some off the bench, some starting, and he looked fairly reasonable under Marcelo Bielsa. Like, you can't forget that there was a match against Manchester City where we were struggling a bit. We brought on Poveda and he just tore their left back apart. Fantastic. Brilliant player at that point, but from there he never really kicked on, had a few attitude issues. I'm sure that he will have personally suffered a little bit from Bielsa's relative lack of rotation of the first team, so he would always play Rafinha on that side, and you would. That's completely fair. But that's not really good for a player's development. Maybe if he would have gone out on loan at that point, that would have been a little bit better for him. He didn't, and he didn't kick on it at all, really. He went on loan to Sheffield Wednesday in January. His contract expires in the summer, and I can imagine him staying at Sheffield Wednesday, especially after he was a big part of them staying up this season. Someone else that has done fairly well out on loan this season in the Championship is Sam Greenwood, who he got a few matches for Leeds United, including that memorable Brentford game, but he hasn't really kicked on at any point. There's no point at which he's like grabbed a midfield or number 9 slot in the team and said, "This is mine now, and someone's going to have to fight me to get it off me." He's currently on Borough at loan and performed reasonably well. He's not been anything special, but importantly, it's the reasonably well. He's been reliable. And whilst Borough have a buy clause available for £1.5 million, not much money at all, I can see them taking it, because for a reasonably consistent Championship player, that's a bit of a bargain. It's a shame that we've negotiated a buy option that low, but I can see him leaving in the summer. Someone else that went off to Borough and I can see leaving permanently is Luke Ayling. He is one of the legends of the Bielsa squad, a significant part of promotion, that really great Premier League season and the season that followed it. But the issue is Ayling is now aging and he never really found his role under Daniel Farke. He was outpaced and outplayed by Archie Gray, which meant that Gray sort of grabbed onto that right back slot and held it for the entirety of the time that Ayling was here. Jed Spence had a little bit of a look in, but wasn't really good enough. Ayling occasionally dropped in at centre-back, but that was also scary. And at the end of the day, he was loaned out because he wanted more football, and his contract also expires next month. He has absolutely shone for Middlesbrough, though. I had a look at whoscore.com just to see how his match ratings have gone, because although they're not really good for a game-to-game basis, they give you a good vibe, and Ayling has been impeccable for Borough, and I can see them holding on to him permanently. Someone else that is likely to leave that was a Bielsa legend because of a contract expiring is Liam Cooper. He was a key part of the Bielsa side. He's still the captain of the club, but he's had very limited minutes this season, and when he has played, we've looked a little bit shaky. His distribution isn't as good as the other centre-backs in that sort of area, and yeah, I don't see him being first choice, even if we don't go up next season. And to be fair to him, he's still played a big backstage role, and he deserves to play actual minutes of football, and his contract's expiring in the summer, so he might as well leave for more minutes. But someone that can't get more minutes that has a contract expiring is Stuart Dallas. Horror injury 2 years ago with a tackle on Jack Grealish that just shattered his leg. There have been 2 injuries like that in football history. The other guy, I think, also had to retire, and so is Stuart Dallas, because he can't do any running on that leg, and the moment he does, the knee fills with fluid and problems. Ultimately, we need to remember that Stuart Dallas gave his all for this football club. Retiring at the end of the season, I wish him the best, to be completely honest with you. Yeah. I hope he does well in everything else that he does. He'd be a fantastic pundit. I can see him doing stuff with the Northern Ireland side. Coaching could be another brilliant route for him because he was such an intelligent player on the pitch. But he's not going to be on the pitch anymore. Now, I've got my theoretical departure, the one that I am 99% sure will be leaving the club. And it's Crescencio Somerville. And I think this is going to happen whether we're in the Championship or the Premier League next season. And the main reason for this is Liverpool have a very, very strong reported interest in him. These reports are coming from all over the shop. And it's partly to do with his links to Arne Slot, who is going to be the new manager at Liverpool. And he's dealt a little bit with Crescencio Somerville before. Also Dutch. Somerville played, I believe, for Feyenoord before he played for Leeds United. I'm just going to very quickly double check that, actually, just to make sure I'm not sort of... You know me, I like to be 100% correct, but I know he came from the Netherlands, and I believe it was Feyenoord. But I want to be certain. It was Feyenoord. I thought so. Signed from Feyenoord for about £1 million a few years back, and Liverpool will want to make Arne Slot happy. Completely sensible. They want their manager in the best vibe possible. There are rumours about a few departures this summer. There's always been conversations about Mo Salah leaving that club, and that might happen now that Jurgen Klopp is also leaving. And if Liverpool come knocking, he can't necessarily say no. There have been rumours of fees between £25 million and £45 million. If we're in the Premier League, we'll be in a much better negotiating spot for that. That 45 million quid, if we can get it in the Premier League, would be absolutely perfect. Brilliant summer transfer kitty that we can just throw into rebuilding the squad, because we need to do that. And even if we're in the Championship, getting £25 million from a less strong negotiating position is fine. because between that and the other deals we've already done and a couple of other departures, we can cover that £70-odd million transfer debt that we owe to be paid off in the summer. And I don't see Liverpool dropping their interest just because we didn't get promoted. He's still the Championship Player of the Season. He would have probably got Championship Young Player of the Season if Archie Gray wasn't also in the conversation, and he's a little bit older than Gray. But yeah, it's a slightly complex one, I think, where if we're in the Premier League, we can charge more, but at the same time, is Somerville going to want to be in a relegation battle? Because we might be. If we're in the Championship, is he going to want to play second-tier football again? Absolutely not. But I can see him leaving either way. But ultimately, I want to know what you think about all of the players that are departing. Are there some players we should try and keep a hold of just in case? What do you think Stuart Dallas's future looks like? Are there some players that I've forgotten to list here? Like, arguably, there's a shout for Darko JB to be on this list, but he's still got a lot of development to come. I can see a loan happening for him next season, then we see where he lands. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, pop a like on it, subscribe, even watch one of my other videos. That is absolutely brilliant for the algorithm and helps things get pushed along just a little bit more. You could even become a channel member. All that money right now is going to Prostate Cancer UK. Really important cause to me, so it's massively appreciated. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you later. I hope that this annoys some people, by the way. No one can be grumpy for long when there is Patrick Bamford in the world. See you later.